how about we do our first look at the NFL slate? It is week 7 already. My goodness, where does the time go? So I think the reason that you should be looking at these lines early on is that you can get better numbers on a lot of these games. If you can predict the line and which way it moves, you can get yourself some closing line value. And sometimes that's the difference between a winner and a loser. So let's start off by looking at the Thursday night game. You know, only a couple days away. We've got the Broncos on the road at the Saints. So we've got Denver laying points here, 1.5 favorites, total of 37.5. We know the Saints looks like it's going to be Spencer Rattler again. I would imagine that's why this line is set as Broncos being favored here on the road. But still, the Broncos as road favorites in a game that's crossing over a couple time zones here. I feel like I would be very cautious about laying points with Denver.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this. Bo Nix has gotten better. I will say this for this rookie crop. Bo Nix, what a crop. Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, they're all starting to play better. Jaden Daniels has been great from the start. Caleb Williams looks better. Bo Nix has started to throw the ball better. But I'm with you here. Do I really want to lay points with Denver against Dennis Allen and the Saints? Now, I know the Saints gave up a ton of points last week to the Falcons. They were just destroyed. I don't know what was going on there. But that seems like, honestly, it seems like a bit of an overreaction, right? This happens all the time in the NFL where a team just has a bad outing, could be offensively, could be defensively. And it's not like the Saints are an amazing team. They're sitting here at 2-4, but they're not going to give up. I would be stunned if Denver just goes lights out against the Saints defense. There's a reason why this total is set at 37.5. I'm with you. I would take the home dog here.
Yeah, what about a total? You kind of touch on this. Do you think 37.5 is too low for taking an under here? Because it's a short week. You have two young quarterbacks. Spencer Rattler, of course, just getting his feet underneath him. This will be his second start for New Orleans. And then Bo Nix, like you said, has gotten better. But still, I'm expecting two big games from the defenses here. You kind of mentioned it. It's hard to take an under when the Saints just gave up that many points.
Yeah.
But it feels like the Bucs are a bit more explosive than this Broncos offense. But I will say, it's kind of a game that has another narrative attached to it because it'll be Sean Payton's return to New Orleans. So maybe you'll have something a little special cooked up here. But back to this total. Would you lean towards an under? Do you like the over? Is this worth playing?
I don't know if it's worth playing. I would lean to the under.
Yeah.
Again, short week. Spencer Rattler had some success last week. Also had some bad luck. Also had some bad passes. Not to be unexpected when you're a rookie quarterback in the NFL. But that Broncos defense is really, really good. Like, that's how the Broncos are winning games right now, which is let's just tighten up our defense. We'll let Bo Nix come along, and we'll win these low-scoring games, whether the over or under hits or not. But when you have a guy in Spencer Rattler and Bo Nix, who, yes, he's come along, but still, it's not like he's lighting up the NFL. I would lean to the under.
Yeah, one injury to be aware of, though, Pat Surtain, the star cornerback for the Broncos, expected to be out, I believe, for this one because he had a concussion, which means usually you have to miss at least a week. So that's a big blow to their secondary, but still, overall, a very good defense. But I don't think I'm going to be betting on that game. Ugh. Disgusting. So let's look at the rest of the slate. Let's start with the Sunday game, the Sunday morning game in London. And so we know a lot of people like to bet on the Jags when it's in London, but they did not win last week against the Bears. They looked outclassed. But this week, it's a bit of a different matchup. They get the lowly Patriots. So this game is the Patriots, who are 1-5, against the Jaguars, who are 1-5. What a game. But Jacksonville is laying 5.5 points. Do you think this is too many points for a bad Jags team?
Yeah, I kind of do. Man, I did not think Jacksonville was going to flat out stink this season. But they stink. Like, we knew the Patriots would be bad. The Jags are so bad. And Doug Peterson needs to be careful. I know that Jacksonville brass gave him the dreaded vote of confidence last Saturday. But that was before their loss on Sunday. Things can change quickly in the NFL, and they had playoff aspirations, and now they're sitting at 1-5. Oof. I think I would take the points with the Patriots here. I think, honestly, the better play is the under because the Patriots play really good defense. Drake May is now starting for the Patriots. He's liable to make some mistakes. I think he threw, 3 picks last week, and a lot of those turnovers that he had turned into points against the Texans. Even if he tightens that up a little bit and you take the Jaguars offense into account as well, which is not very good, actually I like the under in this game. We've got Eagles at the Giants as well. These are a continuation of the early games in the NFL in Week 7. Either of these interest you outside of a teaser?
I think we need to talk about the Eagles and Giants game for a second. Man, the Eagles look bad. Like, they barely beat the Browns. And so now they're 3.5 road favorites at the Giants, which I will say, it's not like the Giants are good either. But still, are the Eagles a team that you would trust right now as more than a field goal favorite? Like, I'm not saying take the Giants, but I'm just saying, like, I don't think they're getting my money this week.
Honestly, I'd bet the Giants too. Now, I'm going to stay away from this game. The last thing I want to do is watch a game with the Eagles visiting the Giants and hoping the Giants can keep it within 3.5. That sounds like torture. That sounds like calling your home improvement guy. No, I'm not going to do that. But I will also say I have zero interest in betting on Philly. When Nick Sirianni, I just can't believe this dude was jawing with the crowd. I get it because Philly fans can be Philly fans, but ultimately, if you're going to be a head coach in Philly, you got to tune that out. And already we're hearing the calls for Nick Sirianni to be fired with the Eagles 3-2.
Yeah, I know. It feels like trouble is afoot in Philly. So again, it's either Giants or nothing for me in that one. Let's talk about some of these other games, though. We kind of touched on Washington as favorites, which, again, I was surprised to see they're 7.5-point favorites against anybody, just based on their past few years of history. But I feel like at this point, and the way that Washington is playing right now, they're deserved 7.5-point favorites in this one. The Panthers look like the worst team in the NFL. The Commanders, it feels like, have passed like some good litmus tests. Like, even against the Ravens, I know they didn't win, but still they kept it relatively close. And this will be a different test because I think when you're these underdog teams, the pressure's kind of off when, you're not supposed to win some of these games. But this is a game that the Commanders are supposed to win. So do you think the mood and, the mindset's a little different for the Commanders this week? Do you think there's any sense of complacency here?
I think there could be, because there's all this hype surrounding the Commanders, right? They've won 4 straight. Now you get a real test. You're going into Baltimore. Let's find out how good you really are. And naturally, there's going to be some sort of letdown when you take on the Panthers. I will say, I like the over here. I was on the over in the Ravens-Commanders last week. I hit that by the hook, just barely. But I see a lot of scoring in this game. The Commanders are going to have their way with that Panthers defense. And the one thing we have learned about that Washington secondary is that you can throw on it. Lamar Jackson was just tossing the football all over the field, and it's not like Andy Dalton is amazing, but he's a good enough vet to have success. So I think that going over 52, which I know is really high, that would probably be my preferred bet. The 7.5 scares me, even though it is Carolina that they're facing.